If you want to make clothes that feel luxurious and intentional, then look no further than vintage sewing patterns and fashion details. High fashion designers constantly reference details from the past. So even if your style is really modern, vintage details can add a really intentional layer to your sewing. In this video, Haley and I are going to share 5 vintage details inspired by patterns from the 1940s. These are details you can incorporate into any modern sewing project, and we're going to show you how to do that. Stay until the end to see our favorite detail and how you can achieve it. All right, Haley, today we're talking about the 1940s. So what is it that you think makes the 1940s such a special decade for fashion?
So the thing that really stands out in my mind was, of course, the 1940s was when World War II was happening. So there was a lot of constraints that were happening around this. There were fabric rationing, so people were attempting to use a lot less fabric in their clothing, and the silhouettes really reflect that.
I think that also you can see the values of the time really reflected in women's wear. There's a lot of strength in the silhouettes.
Yes.
Women were going to work, supporting the war effort, and you can definitely see that influence in the lines of the 1940s.
Yeah, some nice strong shoulders. Let's get into the 5 details that we want to share today.
Okay, so this is actually part of my personal vintage pattern collection. I have a ton of vintage patterns and I organize them in these boxes by decade. If you guys want to see more about how I organize my patterns, let me know in the comments. I can definitely do a video on that. But these are all my patterns. So we're going to talk about the 1940s patterns today. And I've got some here that I absolutely love and that I think would make great inspiration for any sewing project today.
Definitely.
So the first one I want to talk about is this beautiful, beautiful dress from the 1940s. And what I love about this pattern is the way that the stripes are used in this really intentional way. So it's got a yoke going across the top and the stripes are horizontal across the top. And then the rest of the dress has vertical stripes. So that's something that you can incorporate into any project.
And I love this because this is really easy to incorporate into pretty much any sewing pattern that has a certain amount of piecing to it, anything that has a yoke. And all it would take is just being a little bit more thoughtful when you are cutting out your pattern pieces and, maybe throwing the cutting layout in the trash or, hiding it from yourself and having a little bit of fun there.
Yeah, one thing you should do if this is something that you want to try is make sure to buy a little extra fabric if you're going to be playing with the direction of the fabric, because that's not going to be accounted for in your cutting layout.
Yes.
So you may actually need more fabric if you're going to play around with directionality.
And another thing to take into consideration is that the length of grain is not going to have quite as much stretch as the cross grain. So if you are utilizing the length of grain instead, make sure that it's a pattern piece that has enough ease so you're going to be able to move in it adequately.
Yeah, so this dress would be a perfect choice because it clearly has quite a bit of ease, both in the body of the dress and in the yoke with that big dolman sleeve. All right, this next pattern that I want to talk about is an advanced pattern. And this one looks to me like it's probably from the early 1940s rather than the late 1940s. It has a little bit more of that 1930s look to it with the big puff sleeve. This is such a cool pattern. And what I really like about this pattern, and this is a detail that you could incorporate in a number of garments, it has this beautiful wide waist tie that's ruched and it's sewn right into a dart. So this is something that I haven't seen a lot of, but it's something you could incorporate into anything with darts. So you just sandwich it in between the 2 legs of the dart when you're sewing the dart up and you're done.
I think that this is a really fun detail because you could even incorporate it after you're done sewing. Let's say you try on your garment. I think we've all been there. And maybe the waist isn't quite as snug fitting as you would like it to be. It could be as simple as unpicking that dart and adding a little tie into it. And that way it's incorporated into the garment. It feels more intentional. Other fun ways to play with this is I love the ruched wide tie on this, but you could also do it with a smaller tie. It doesn't have to be ruched. You could do it multiple really thin ties sewn at various points in the dart. So I feel like there's a lot of ways you can interpret this and play with it to make it your own.
You could even do ties at the front and back and make them laced together.
Oh my gosh, I love that idea.
That'd be really cool. The other thing that I really like about this dress is it has this trim 3 layers of trim sewn at the bottom, which is another really cool detail. Okay, the next one I want to show you is so pretty. It's one of my favorites, and this is a Vogue pattern from the 1940s, and it has a very, very glamorous vibe. I actually made this pattern years and years ago. I was probably like 18 or 19 when I made it, and it's so beautiful. It's just a gorgeous, drapey, flowing dress with these really beautiful tucks. I love it. The cool thing that I wanted to show you guys that you could incorporate is it actually uses the reverse side of the fabric on some of the details. So it has the shoulder yoke and it has a waist tie, and the pattern instructs you to use like a silk charmeuse. So you're using the matte side of the silk charmeuse for the body of the dress, and then you're using the shiny side of the silk charmeuse for those little details. And I just think that is such a cool idea and a really great way to use silk charmeuse if you want to use it for maybe not like a day-to-day project, but something that's not quite as shiny as it might otherwise be.
Yeah, I know for me, I love the feel of silk charmeuse, and it's it's fun to sew with, but I hate on myself it just feels not as everyday to wear something with so much luster to it. So I think that's a really fun way to call a little additional attention. And what's cool is that you can really make it, choose your own adventure here. You could do a sleeve, you could do a collar, you could do your bias finishings. There's all kinds of ways you could do this to kind of accentuate that luster of the charmeuse, less or more.
I'm imagining like a placket on a shirt. That would be really pretty if you used both sides of the charmeuse for that, or a collar. It'd be really beautiful.
Yeah, and again, this is just a matter of playing with your, in some cases it might be playing with your cutting layout, but in this case with the shoulder pieces, it's just sewing right side to wrong side. So really simple to incorporate even as an afterthought into a sewing project.
Yeah. All right, the next one I want to show you is this Simplicity pattern, which incorporates this contrast bias binding along the neckline and along the sleeve hems, and then it also uses color blocking. So you've got this green skirt with the yellow top, so it kind of almost looks like a two-piece set instead of a dress. And I think this is something that you could easily incorporate into a dress that you're making for yourself if you want to give it that same kind of look.
What's great about this too is that you can really use up a lot of fabric scraps. I know if you're like me, you have lots of like odd 1.5 yard cuts hanging out in your stash, and this is a really great way to utilize it. You could also utilize this with, I've seen this in the past, facings cut in contrast fabric sewn to the right side of garments instead of the wrong side. So you can really bring a lot of fun and interest and texture to an otherwise plain garment by utilizing contrasting trim or just general color blocking.
And just like the last pattern we talked about, this could also be sort of an afterthought. If you were doing something in a color blocking style like this, and you had some leftover fabric after cutting, for example, the skirt, you could use that to make some bias tape and switch out the bias tape on the rest of the pattern. And if you want to learn more about color blocking, we have a great article that's all about color blocking and how to add style lines so that you can incorporate color blocking in more creative ways. So we'll link to that in the description below too. Okay, so for the last pattern that I want to show you, this is a Hollywood pattern. And I'm not sure if this is from the early 1940s, it could be the late 1930s, but it is just a fantastic, beautiful dress with this really cool matching bolero that goes over it. And you don't see boleros a lot today, but the detail that I really wanted to share with you guys that I think you could incorporate is this really interesting sleeve detail. So the way the sleeve is constructed, it's a puff sleeve that gathers around the cuff with ties. So this is something that you could add to a pattern pretty easily yourself too. So we're going to show you how to do that.
So I made a little step out to demonstrate with. Really, you can use a variety of different sleeve styles. What's really most important is that the hem of your sleeve has a bit of extra sweep to it. I would say that you would want at least 6 inches of ease around the point that you're going to add the tie, potentially a little bit more. And for that reason, something with a little bit of a gather, a flutter sleeve, all of those are going to work wonderfully. And you can use this on sleeves of various lengths as well. So what I did to achieve this is actually quite simple. I made 2 ties, which you could use cording, You could use bias. I just made 2 little thin ties and I attached them about 2.5 inches above the hem of my sleeve, and they're just top stitched into place. All you could have to do is tie that, and you can kind of play with it. You can have a more gathered look like this, or you can arrange the excess so that it creates more of a pleat. And it's really a simple detail to add, but it's super impactful and it seems very fancy.
Yeah, I think this is a great example of how you could take a detail that you see on a vintage pattern like this and actually really, really easily incorporate it into a dress that you would wear today and not have it look super costumey or super vintage looking necessarily. It just looks really interesting and intentional. And I also like that this is adjustable too, which is really cool.
Yeah, I'm always game for anything adjustable.
Yeah, so when you think vintage, it doesn't necessarily have to be vintage. It can just add a really special level of intentionality to what you're sewing.
Yeah, really all of the things that we went over today doesn't have to be interpreted in a traditional pin, like, you know, pin-up vintagey aesthetic that you might think of when you hear the word vintage. It can be incorporated in really modern and fresh ways.
So my favorite detail is definitely the sleeve detail. This is something that I could see incorporating on the Seamwork Reggie dress. I think the way I would do that is just like slash and spread to add a little bit more volume. So I would omit the cuff on it, add a little bit more volume at the hem, and then add that tie. It'd be super easy. And I'm actually making that dress soon, so I might actually do that.
Ooh, I'm gonna keep an eye out. I think that my favorite detail, well, it's hard to choose, but one of the details that I'm really inspired by is this directional stripe. I think that it would be really cool on the Roan tunic, which is what I am wearing. You could play with some shirting fabrics, which come in a bunch of different really cool stripes, and you can place your pockets directionally. You could do one of the front pieces horizontal, the other one vertical, and it would feel like a really modern and fresh way to incorporate this idea, which I love. I love taking the inspiration from something vintage and making it feel, you know, completely different and new.
And if you want access to these patterns and over 200 other sewing patterns, you can join us over at Seamwork, and we give 50% off to our YouTube followers. So we'll put a link to that in the description below. And how about you? What's your favorite detail that we showed today, and how would you use it? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. And we'll see you over at Seamwork. It's an afternoon dress. What's an afternoon dress?
Maybe it's like
you wear it in the afternoon.
In the afternoon when you're like doing your chores, your friend comes over for coffee. You want to be cute and comfy. I don't know. Different than my afternoon clothes would look. That's for certain. Like a house dress?
It doesn't look like a house dress. Maybe it's like after you change out of your house dress.
Yeah, it's like between your dinner dress and your house dress time. So what I did to achieve this.
Maybe back to her corner.
Okay.
You're banished. Static gal.
I really do like that detail. It's
It
cute.
is really cool.
Really pretty.
It's really
I'm getting
interesting.
really good spring design inspo right now.
Hollywood patterns are really cool because they always had a picture of a Hollywood starlet on them who I guess maybe wore a similar gown in a movie or something like that. I'm not sure what she has to do with the design exactly.
Maybe nothing at all.
Maybe nothing, but or maybe you're just evoking her overall look. I'm not
Yes.
sure. But this one has a picture of Joan Bennett on it looking absolutely gorgeous.